Hi, everyone. Welcome back to DM Charlie Gaming and Frictionless Dan present The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. You've been following us with our previous two episodes. You know that our party of adventurers have stepped through the portal in the Hall of Illusions, led there by Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and now find themselves in the Prismere land of Hither. What they're about to see, what they're about to discover, none of them know. But we do. And if you are a DM or you like spoilers or you've already run the campaign and want to hear how a professional DM and a super successful content writer would run it, well, this is the little tidbit for you. But if you're here to watch the show, enjoy the stream and don't want any spoilers, we recommend you come back in like maybe 15, 20 minutes or watch afterwards. We don't want to ruin anything for you, but this was the promise we made to the dungeon masters. That said, hi Dan, how you doing today, man?
Hey Charlie, I'm good. Full disclosure, I may have to leave at any moment because my wife and I are 39 weeks pregnant. So we are, if I suddenly run away from my computer, I've got every excuse.
You do, absolutely. And being a father and knowing what that's like, yeah, I by all means, I will just flub my way through it. You'll come back and you're like, you did what? And I'm like, well, congratulations, Dad. So yeah, no, that's very cool. Congrats. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. What are you most excited about for the vibe of Hither?
Hither is swampy. It makes a big deal right in the opening paragraphs of how swampy, dark it is. And it's very easy. You think of the Swamp of Sorrows from the Never-Ending Story, the Bog of Eternal Stench from Labyrinth. You think of the Dreadlands, Lord of the Rings, a lot of swamps in fantasy. And so I am excited to play into that.
So when the characters emerge in Hither, they're walking along the Queen's Way, which is they don't talk about it too much, but it looks to me like there were bridges going from all directions heading towards the Palace of Heart's Desire. In this case, when Prismere splintered, one of those bridges broke, and that's the bridge that they're on. So the natural course is to head down into the swamp off of the Queensway. And the first thing that happens in the book is that the party is accosted by Harengon brigands. And I'm going to recommend a ordering of some of the events as described in the book, because I think it can be made a little more effective. I think the first thing is to start with something exciting, and that is the balloon crashing. Sir Talavar is making his escape on a hot air balloon from a mission that isn't super well explained, infiltrating Downfall, and he crashes into Slanty Tower. And I think that cinematic is excellent because it drives the focus of the players to Slanty Tower. And it's the first, like, what is this? This is strange. And it's a tower that's sinking into the bog. So it really just captures that swampy vibe. And I think it's nice to start with like a set location off of that cinematic. So we're going to skip the Harengon Brigands and go right to Slanty Tower. So in Slanty Tower, we're going to meet two NPCs. We're going to meet Sir Talavar, the fairy dragon, and Elmer, an original NPC from inside Slanty Tower. Any thoughts on those two characters and how you want to use them?
So they're both excellent. Sir Talavar is I'm gonna misuse it. A storyful. He explains what's going on. So he is a kind of a lore dump and puts it out clearly. This is what's happening here in Prismere. So the character is very clear about it. Elmer serves as a warning. What happens when you make a bad deal with a hag? Now that's reinforced later on at Telemy Hill. And it does not hurt to reinforce those beats so you can kind of illustrate the severity. Of the two of them, Sir Talavar has the greatest likelihood to be a recurring NPC. Sir Elmer's not Sir Elmer, has the potential to be a returning NPC. Like he can come back after everything's resolved weeks and months from now, just kind of like a flashback. And we may actually do that, like come back as the camera moves around, third person omniscient, and we just see that he's been restored. But we'll get into that. But yeah, so of the two, Sir Talavar is the one that we're going to, really kind of develop, put a lot of focus on, give some extra dialogue to.
I think Sir Talavar is the hook that sends the party to the next location. So Sir Talavar tells the party what's going on. The Prismere's splintered, and maybe they can do something about it. So he's after Slanty Tower. He's going to recommend that they seek out the Watcher. So the Watcher is also an original NPC. Although I didn't come up with the idea of a moose snake. If you look very closely on the map of Hither, you will see that there is a moose snake in the upper right-hand corner of the map in a little pool. And I thought
we're inserting a graphic.
But the Watcher's pool is an entirely original location. The book doesn't talk about it at all, which is strange because it looks like a very prominent location. So we're going to use the Watcher as an oracle. But of course, on the way to the Watcher's pool, this is where we're going to first meet the brigands, because we're passing by Brigand's Tollway. And the Tollway, which also isn't explained very well in the book, can literally be a tollway. Like the brigands, every time you pass by it, you're going to run into trouble, and they should know that. So, and the first time they're going to learn it is on the way to Watcher's Pool. They're going to meet these, a couple of brigands that are no match for the party, and the brigands are going to try to make easy marks of them. The party's going to beat them up, and they're going to go on their merry way and say, these Heron brigands are no big deal. You had talked a little bit about the vibe of battles in Prismere a while ago. How do you see that first encounter going? If the party kills a brigand, how are you going to paint us a picture of how that occurs?
Well, I hope they don't. I'm hoping that they're going to use their wits. But if they do actually come to fisticuffs, I am not one of those DMs that believes that creatures have a strong sense of self-preservation. So once they've taken a few good hits, forget this, they're going to run away. Maybe if one of them does get a really good blow and one of the players gets a really good hit and we see some really good damage out of it, and it's like, why didn't that drop him? Then we'll do the Prismere kind of like puff of mist and the pile of carrots. Like we talked about, just like to confirm the ridiculous. At the beginning of Hither, there is that small table that like is Zabilna's rules of death in Prismere. You can roll. One of them quite literally is it's like the same as you've been hit with a Revivify spell. You pop up with 1 hit point. So it's in keeping. You're not really breaking anything. So that's what we're going to do, is keep it light. And like we discussed the last time we have one of these, especially here in Hither, things are going to be kind of we'll worry about the emotional mood descending later on in the campaign. So
cool. So you had mentioned random encounters. I personally prefer scripted at least intentional encounters, and this is a good place to insert a random encounter component when the brigands accost the party. If it comes to blows, we can insert the marsh gas random encounter to accentuate the fact that this is a swamp and we're getting the brigands. So we're taking two sort of less than spicy encounters and we're doing a 1 + 1 = 3 here by merging these encounters together. Absolutely. So hopefully one brigand or more escapes, because we want the brigands to be a recurring villain and they're going to go tattle on what the party's up to.
One might escape.
Well, the Watcher's Pool comes next. So the party's going to get the prophecy from the Watcher, who is a lonely moose snake. And they're going to learn a little bit more about the alicorn, although it's going to be cryptic. The party can ask some good questions. You might have to be prepared as a DM with some rhymes, although we tried to anticipate most of the good questions we have a bunch of rhymes in the Watcher's pool for big questions that we think that the party might answer or ask. After Watcher's pool, the party is going to head to Tellamy Hill to get the key from Jingle Jangle. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So Sir Talavar knows that there's a key to his cage. In the book, he says, oh, just go to Tellamy Hill. But in this telling, he doesn't know where the key is, so he has the party go to the Watcher to find out where the key is. It's just another step. And so the Watcher says, oh, in their rhyming form, the key's in Tellamy Hill. Now the party's heading there. On the way to Tellamy Hill, we pass the tollway again. This time, Agden shows up. And so Agden, it's a pretty tough NPC. And there's lots of people that talk about this in all kinds of ways on the Discord and on Reddit, is what to do about Agden, because if you fight him as a level 2 party with all of his brigand backup, he could TPK your party. So there's a few ways to deal with that. And the way that I recommend is to run the encounter straight. Hold if it's a battle, and I kind of think it should be, because Agden's got to show these players who's boss. You can't be walking around my Feywild, you need to be robbable, and I'm going to show you that you are. So I would hold no punches. If Agden wins, let him win, but it should be a TPKO.
Exactly.
Total party knockout.
Exactly.
And so there's a few things you can go from there. One, party wins, Agden runs away. Party wins, defeats Agden. Option 2, the other option is Agden wins, and he just leaves them robbed and itemless in the swamp. And this is where you can use another random encounter. Hobgoblin Stilt Strider show up and say, like, the whole Morrowind, you've been asleep for days or whatever that. But
the Swamp Striders are great too, because their approach is heralded by noises similar to the first group of Harengon. So it is a moment to build some tension and really kind of cause your players to be like, now what are we gonna do? They're coming back.
Is something gonna eat us?
Yeah. It's like I have nothing but my fists, and it's a
but the long and the short of this is, I wouldn't railroad your party into a TPK. I wouldn't railroad your party into a victory. I would hold no punches and just see what happens with the Agden fight, and it could be cool. And Agden's smart, so and I was thinking about this in bed last night, is that Oak is a Harengon, and he's also the healer. So Agden is going to beat him up first, making sure that he can't bring the rest of the party up. If you want.
No, absolutely.
If you want.
Absolutely. Plus, in Oak's backstory, there is a knowledge of Agden. So there will be that. And I'm thinking that there might be, well, hey, we're in Prisoner. There might be some reciprocity. Hey, aren't you that kid that was always getting into trouble and you doing all that stuff? I owe you one. Like a little bit of like, I owe you one. And so then I can see like a scene where here's Oak and there's Agden and everybody's running after him, Yeah. But Agden, I have never, ever felt in any of the things that he is evil or malicious. He's more of like a mischievous and kind of like a Bugs Bunny that, like, if he got carried away and did knock you out, he'd feel bad about it, made sure you had a pillow under your head before he took off with all your belongings. That kind of bad guy.
Okay. He steals all your money, but leaves you with just one gold. Just so that. And then when you fight him later, he's like, I didn't take everything.
Right. That's also a wonderful, wonderful moment because we make a big deal of the rules of ownership,
Mhm.
reciprocity, and hospitality. And it illustrates that clearly there is, I mean, what are the brigands up to? I mean, they're stealing. Is this allowed? The rule of ownership is very important. Do they have special privilege, or the rules not equally applied? Are the rules not applied at
Mhm.
all? So it does give some other bigger questions to the party. We don't want to focus on them, but it also gives some things to kind of discuss as we, as I'm fiddling in the background and you're walking through the mud, talk, so it's a good thing for as a
Yep.
DM to help them find uh their emotional character storylines and stuff too.
So after Agden, whether we wake up in the swamp, butts kicked by Agden and robbed, or we defeat Agden and send him running,
Yeah.
we head to Telemy Hill because we want to get the key for Sir Talvar because Sir Talvar is going to be annoying about that. He's he thinks about himself a lot. So we go to Telemy Hill. In the book, Telemy Hill's not really much of an encounter. You just kind of talk to Jingle Jangle, and that's fine because we've got a bunch of other encounters. If you're looking to maximize Hither and the time spent in the campaign, a writer friend, Fairlax, has written an encounter called Nightmare on Telemy Hill, which you can probably find on Reddit or Discord. It's free. And yeah, if you're a DM and you want to do that, check it out. Um, After we get the key from Jingle Jangle, we head to Brigand's Tollway. Brigand's Tollway, the hook to go there is um, the fact that you can either have Jingle Jangle's key be stolen and have that be in the tollway. Jingle Jangle's truffles have been stolen, so Jingle Jangle wants those back. The party, if they were robbed, they might just want to get their stuff back.
That's a strong motivator.
Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons to send the party like knocking on the door of Brigand's Tollway. Within Brigand's Tollway is a cool adventure in the book. Brigand's Tollway is nothing. It's just you show up and you fight some Herringons and go on your way. But and within Brigand's Tollway you can go inside. It's the Herringon base. You can find Agden's lair, and this is kind of optional, but as within Brigand's Tollway, there's a secret surprise in the basement.
Secret surprise.
There's something more to the story of Agden. Maybe I won't spoil that. Okay.
Don't. Yeah. What's in the basement? There's your
Yeah, there's
question.
something in the
Hey,
basement of Brigand's Tollway.
something in the
Um,
basement.
so that can also add some layers of complexity depending on how the party deals with
Yeah.
that. Then after that, we're ready to confront Bavlorna at Downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And this and maybe there's been a final showdown with Agden. Maybe Agden is groveling for his life and said, "Oh, I'll help you." But all things come to a head at Downfall as we meet Clapperclaw, the guide, to try to get us to the next zone thither and try to recover some lost things. We haven't talked about that yet. I've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Charlie. What is your vision for Downfall, Bavlorna, and are there any lost things here
There are.
uh in
Uh,
Downfall?
the first one being Obric's hat is inside Bavlorna's fabric room. It does say in the book that you have to reach inside the brass frog and pull it out. But because we made some deal about the fabrics with the fortune teller, I had said it's just going to be sitting there with her things.
Mhm.
Downfall is an excellent, there's a lot that can be done in Downfall, and a lot of it is red herring. You've got Marrows in the water, there's the coup attempt, you got the willow with the which is kind of funny. So if you are not obviously producing a stream for entertainment purposes, and you have you're trying to be direct and focused, there's a lot. You can spend 2 or 3 sessions inside Downfall and have a great time. For us, the purpose will be go kind of get a look at everything and then head straight into meet Clapperclaw, of course, and then head straight into the hut. But still, it's like we're coming for you. We're coming. We want our stuff, right? With Bavlorna, okay, she is the middle sister. She is the embodiment of the present. She is the lazy one, the indolent one, the one who really delights in the misery of others. She's the reason that this portion of Prismere is the way it is. You know, it's this swampy morass, and she represents being stuck in that can't get over it kind of just, I'm angry all the time. So I'm going to portray her as petty, snippy, just really kind of bitter and delighting in just little teeny, bug lands on you and bites you. And she's like, kind of like Hades does when the number counts up 1 and he gets that look in Hercules, where he gets that. I'm looking forward to doing Bavlorna. I've been trying on different voices and different postures, and oh, you've come into downfall, have you? You filthy adventurers, you nasty little herringon. So yeah.
I kind of imagine you're like talking to her and like a mosquito like bites your neck and then she tongue eats the mosquito off your face.
Yeah, she's very frog-like too. And then there's the lordlings. There's a lot of creep factor. There's a lot of like hut in the bayou, kind of thing. With all that entails, and then also, because of Sadie's background, which we will touch on before we get there, there will be a moment for Sadie to be a little bit confused, for Sadie to be like, hold on, is this who I think it is? I hope to God it's not who I think it is, which will be a lot of fun for us because we hopefully will know better, but to watch the player, watch Sadie kind of wrestle with it, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah.
What do you think of the weakness, the Widdershins?
Widdershins, it's clever in that Widdershins, to most Western readers, what the hell is Widdershins? It has to be explained to them, and it's kind of okay. It's like it. Yeah, a part of me wants to just go back, throw a bucket of water on her, hit her with a handful of salt, something like that. But it is what it is, and it ties into that kind of ridiculous, the ridiculousness, the absolutely arbitrary rules of the Fae, of the fairy realm. Like, that makes no sense, but okay, it works. So we're gonna
don't think about it too hard, kind of thing.
Yeah. I analyze everything, and it's like, what, counterclockwise? Come on. Oh, okay, yeah, it is.
For folks interested in expanding their Bavlorna fight, Fairlax, who I previously mentioned, also has expanded or enhanced stat blocks for all the hags in case you want to have an epic boss fight with them. Charlie, are we gonna have an epic boss fight with Bavlorna? What do you kind of see happening?
What I picture is I don't picture like we have put you down, because you want that showdown at the end with all 3 sisters. So give them the weakness. Hopefully they're going to use it intelligently. Put things in position where they can kind of get one over on her, maybe find her at a moment when she's not really ready, or they can put the idea, because of the sisters, Bavlorna is the one who's always thinking the other 2 are conspiring against her. So can put that little kind of hint of like, well, they're doing this, and like, what? And get her to take off. There's a chance to outsmart the hag. That again is something that we can deliver, that idea that they can do that via the watcher, via the visions, right, via an NPC. Yeah.
Right, right. Some parties might just show up to her and be like, "Well, there's a boss. Aren't we supposed to kill the boss?" And so
Right.
you need to communicate to your players that that there are other options. Because most of the time, a player is like, can I try to convince the boss not to be evil?" And no, you can't make a persuasion check to stop the boss from executing their plot. They
Right.
are evil and they want to do the evil thing.
Yeah.
But
Quite literally,
in
my
this
hand's
instance,
on the lever. Do you not see? Yeah.
but in this instance, yeah, maybe you can talk to her. And I like your idea that all the hags survived at the end for a final showdown.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm just looking at the random encounters real quick. The inn at the end of the road, I think, is
Mhm.
just a back pocket thing. Whenever the party needs a rest, boom, inn at the end of the road shows up. Um, the abandoned raft, I don't know. If you want to add to the vibe, there's an abandoned raft. It doesn't
It's a
really do
little Huck
anything.
Finn. It's a little Huck Finn, but
Um,
yeah,
there's some mud methods, waterlogged battlefield, skip them. And then
yeah.
you mentioned the streams of vision to
Hmm.
foreshadow downfall. So I think that's good for Hither. That's a wrap.
I think so. I
There's a lot
think
of
so.
content.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna try and get through this in like 5.5 sessions. See if
Hmm.
we can do it, especially because we want to continue telling the character's story with more little lore episodes to make this more narrative for you out there in chat. It's also rewarding for the players if you do things like that to make it more cinematic, more narrative, more like a story that they feel like they're a part of versus a like X, Y, Z, A, B, C, go here, do this, go here, do that, just straight quest line. It's a way that you can really pull the storytelling out of Dungeons and Dragons. So, yeah.
Speaking of carrots and herringon, this episode is sponsored by A Gorman's Guide to Gastromancy, our brand new source book with adventures and subclasses, recipes that you can make for your DM to earn that inspiration, spells, lots of good spells. In fact, I might add some of those spells to the Wild Beyond the Witchlight if I were DMing it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Can
monsters,
I
literally
interest you
everything.
in noodle eruption? Anyone?
New I think we could have a good noodle
Yeah.
eruption in Hither.
Yeah, especially in the inn. Yeah, just saying.
All right. We will also be giving away inside Slanty Tower. We will be giving away the Watcher's Pool, and we will be giving away within Brigand's Tollway for the entire Wild Beyond the Witchlight Hither adventure bundle from DM's Guild, um, which is nearing Mithril bestseller on DM's Guild. I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Anything you want to tell these good folks, Charlie, before we hit them with the episode?
Nah, you got to let me go. I got to get in there and get my DM suit on so I can start this episode. I'm sure the players like get back there in the green room, like, what's going on? What are they talking about? So, as always, it's a pleasure. And hey, if I don't before we air this and stuff, uh, congratulations to you and your wife. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All
All
right.
right,
Good luck, guys.
thanks. We'll see you all wild beyond the witchlight.